What is up, guys? Today we've got a video on this little mod I'm working on. Now, you may be wondering, French Grand Prix, what is this guy on about? So basically, long story short, before I get hate for saying, oh, this is just Russia, blah 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 blah, we can't put new tracks into the game. It doesn't work like that. We can't put 3D models into the game of cars, anything like that. So we have to work with what we've got. So realistically, looking at the track layouts, I'd say Paul Ricard it's closely resembled by Sochi. When I say closely resembled, I mean it's the closest we got to driving Paul Ricard. So basically what this little mod does is a work in progress, so it's not completely done. But it's at a point where obviously you can race on it and stuff like that. It's obviously not exactly what the best thing in the world. You can't obviously drive around Paul Ricard and be like, oh, this is an amazing new track. We won't get that until F1 2018 comes out. But in the meantime, could try and make small tweaks rather than just running on tracks that won't be there and aren't in the calendar. So obviously what I've gone and done, I've gone and essentially just taken Sochi and just changed it up a little bit. There's not much you can do. Like, obviously, in terms of this, obviously you got the French flag there. I would love to be able to have the lines on the outside of the tarmac like they have at Paul Ricard, but that's not possible because if you try and change that, it changes the actual track surface you're driving on, and it look really odd trying to drive on blue and yellow lines. So that's not actually possible, which is a shame that we can't actually do that. But nonetheless, I'm showing you a nice little lap around the circuit. Obviously, all the new sponsor boards are up on this track. You've got the Formula 1 Experience, F1 TV, obviously the Paul Ricard, and obviously the other racing series. There's not many sponsor boards around Paul Ricard currently. Obviously there'll be more when it comes out, when we actually get there to the race, but just for now I figured we might as well just stick with what we know is there for sure. But obviously it's an okay lap. It's quite a fun track, is obviously Sochi, so I figured it won't be that big of a deal. We've got a race to get into. And the only downsides with this mod altogether is at the current time, I'm not sure if there's a way to change the flag that the woman's holding. And when you load into the race, it does come up with the Russian flag. Now that is something you can't change as far as I'm aware. Like, you can't change driver nationalities as well. But there's another example of the French flag there on the track. From this angle, it looks like the Dutch flag, but when obviously driving up alongside it, obviously it transcends to the French flag. So we'll do what we can. This race performance has been simmed. So this isn't the 2018 performance. This is what happens is when you go into a race and you just jump straight into a race. The grid's more or less predetermined anyway, based on the 2016 performance, and we can't change that either, which is one of the things I noticed people were saying in like the comments and the reviews of 2.0, which has been phenomenal, by the way. I've had a few people say it's not working. That's more or less comes down to them not updating the game beforehand. But apart from that, I've had one or two people say it's crashing, but everyone else says it's perfect. They love it. It's finally fixed, which is awesome to see and stuff like that. But we're driving with Pierre Gasly around what is effectively the Paul Ricard French circuit. Now, I didn't think about this because when I was making videos before and stuff like that, I didn't have 2018 performance built in, and I have the 2018 performance built in into this video, and this Toro Rosso is horrible. It's really not as fun as it used to be. Now, I'm using the old version of the Toro Rosso. There's a new version out by JB. Go check that out in the description. He basically did what I tried doing with the original chassis, but I gave up because I just didn't like it. It took forever to get this car to work on this chassis. I don't mind it, it's just I don't really like how empty it looks and how it just looks very, very square. Well, obviously the original Toro Rosso chassis, it just looks a little bit better. You can see obviously we're fighting with the Red Bulls at the moment, and I can promise you it does not stay like this forever. We just lose so much pace down the straights due to our Honda engine, and I just generally didn't have the pace. I didn't load the setup for this, so there's no point. And there's no halo on this video. There was going to be, but making the halos is definitely not the easiest thing. I thought it was going to be really simple, but it's really, really not in actual fact. So I've had to make some adjustments to the career mode as well, based on that fact. I'm probably going to have to resort just to using it the halo for the Haas The other cards probably will come eventually, but there won't be any onboard shots, just for the fact of getting all the halos is going to be incredibly difficult for me to do. So a little bit disappointing. I didn't put the halo in the Hass either because obviously that isn't made yet, but we'll probably get to that eventually. But it's not, again, this mod, it's more aesthetic than anything else. And obviously people will be like, oh, this is crap because it's clickbait or whatever. But obviously it says in the thumbnail, work in progress. It's a mod. It's not going to be a brand new track and stuff like that, which is a shame. We can't import tracks like India, Korea, San Marino, Esther, all those tracks from previous games. We can't actually import them now. I'm pretty sure there's a way we can import the 2016 cars onto this game. Now that's pretty handy, but at the same time it's kind of useless in terms of what we can actually do. It's not really that helpful. There is a way in career mode to swap around the track orders and stuff like that, but it causes an incredible amount of issues when loading into the track. Unless you drive out, you know, you'll spawn in and you'll spawn upside down, or you'll spawn into a wall. This obviously isn't handy if you're running simulation. Now, I'm not sure when this mod's going to be out. The only thing I've really got left to do is the track maps. Now, that's going to be a bit tedious because obviously in most cases the bottom left track map will have to remain the same, and the only one that I can really change and probably get away with is the menu ones and also the in-garage ones. Apart from that, this mod's more or less done. All the sponsors are done. The curbs are done as well. Like, I changed them a little bit. They're a little bit darker red. I figured I'd change it just to match the colour of the French flag. Obviously we've got the Paul Ricard sponsors all the way down through turn 2, and obviously it just cuts off the blue. And also on the track on the right hand side, usually that would be blue. Obviously in this mod it's actually going to be white. Just, I would like to have changed that a little bit, but then it would have had an impact on the flag. But it is what it is at the end of the day. I did the best with what I have, what I can do, and obviously there's going to be a Germany one. Now that necessarily won't be, I mean, if anyone with a little bit of a brain, you can probably assume what track that's going to replace, which will be a little bit easier than this one, because this mod completely replaces Russia, because you can't add another track. So this one essentially replaces anything to do with Russia whatsoever, including the obviously the setup screens, the race in-game menus, and the Russian flag. So, which is handy for my mod in particular, because we don't use the flags. The flags are disabled for what word am I trying to think of? The flags are disabled in the menu screen and stuff like that, so it doesn't really make much of a difference, to be honest. It would replace Kvyat's flag in the podium, but realistically the chances of Hartley getting a podium, who replaces Kvyat, and then cut on the French flag, I don't think it really matters that much. It's not the end of the world, and if Hartley does end up getting a podium, then I'll eat my words for sure. But it's been a bit of a ramble video. It's just, I'm a bit unsure of the reception this mod will get, let alone this video. So it's just going to come down to if people like it, if people would want it, just to give something a little bit different to the potentially a career mode, or just a little bit more of authenticity, rather than just driving around Russia at the beginning of the season and then just going around like that. But it is what it is. Like I said, the pace was awful. That's why we skipped the last few laps. It just wasn't worth showing the whole race, because it was literally so boring. Like that, there was only one opportunity that Ricciardo or Verstappen tried to overtake me. After that, I just kind of went to pot, really. But Hamilton obviously won this race, being it's Russia. The Mercedes obviously is really good around here. But yeah, so obviously this will feature in my career mode, this track, and then obviously we'll have Russia in at the end on its own. Kimi Räikkönen not doing too good in 4th place, but I reckon that's around about his pace would be around this circuit. Obviously ahead of the Red Bulls, but also behind. Now this is the only thing that annoyed me. This excuse me, sorry for any headphone users. This thing here, the VTB Russian Grand Prix Sochi, that really bugs me, just for the pure fact that I changed it and it didn't save. I've got some recording issues at the moment, so I'm not going to redo that, unfortunately. But at the same time, there's not much I can do. But anyway, that's been it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye.